2, 1, and let's get into this match, which is between no one other than Pro Player Scan. A couple of days ago, Scan came into the UGL Discord channel asking for some fastest map 1 vs 1 games, because he was unable to find anyone specifically to play his 1 vs 1 fastest map games against. So I set him up with some games against JH, aka Voss, who is playing the yellow Protoss on the bottom left corner of the map. Scan himself is playing the blue Terran, and I'm really curious to see how his absolutely insane regular map skills translate to fastest map. In the past, we've already seen some pro players try their hands at fastest map, and mechanically, and in terms of multitasking, even in terms of macro, they are absolutely amazing. Just their build orders and their understanding of this map specifically leaves them exposed to fastest map specialists who dedicated pretty much all their playtime to perfecting their builds, their knowledge, their situational reactions and adaptations, their build orders, their strategies, specifically to the fastest maps. So Scan already starting out a little bit strange by throwing out his depots pretty far away from his command center. Most people prefer to make it a little bit closer to the command center to make it easier to manage. It's like you can build a compact little base here at the start of the game. Depots being thrown up out at the sides, getting vision over the entire middle, the top middle, or just the entire space that he's in. Yeah, let's just call it the entire space that he's in. So he has vision on both sides already. But it is a risk, because if Voss had decided to go for a mid build or decided to go aggressive, he could have really put pressure on these two depots here on the side. There's a lot of distance to cover, and you pretty much spread yourself out too thin as the Terran. That's pretty much the reason behind starting off in a compact Terran style and getting your front blocked off as fast as you can. And there's another depot there. So he's playing a really wide Terran. Voss, on the other hand, starts off with a Nexus, followed by a Gateway, a Forge, and a Choke. Right there. He's already scouting the map. There's an Academy being thrown on the side there. So basically just throwing down buildings wherever he needs them, whenever he needs them. Location is not that relevant, but now he does have vision over this side spot here, which might end up helping him in the future, but it's kind of risky, losing your Academy earlier into the game. But I don't think Voss knows that it's there, so right now it's still working. Another depot coming down here on the... Now he's getting vision over the entirety of his base, but it's a bit risky to put them so far apart. It might hinder him in the later stages of the game, having those depots blocking out spaces where you might want to build other buildings. But as of now, let's just keep watching and see how it progresses. Voss going for somewhat of a unique build, but the uniqueness of the build now is gone because he starts off with the robotics facility. Citadel of a Dune should be coming down as well. He's mining from 3 gas. It's pretty early to be mining from 3 gas, but this guy always knows what he's doing. There's another pylon. Second robotics facility is out. No Citadel of Dune just yet. Might be coming out a little bit late. Pylon there as well. Skeleton of his base has been finished. Scan is trying to go aggressive here. There's 4 cannons here at the choke. A couple of zealots as well. Definitely be enough to fight this off in a situation that Scan does decide to go offensive. Scan is going to have to fight this. Final Scan is first. Oh, this is lucky for Scan. Zealots almost get cut out. Voss responds just in time. He throws down a pylon there in the front. Alright, so he goes for the offensive move. He gets the focus off on the single cannon, but the cannons just take down most of these Marines way too quickly for this to have been a good move. So that move ends up in favor of Voss as he kills most of those Marines. This will make it harder for Scan to defend himself against the incoming drops, because that's definitely what's going to happen. Drops are going to be coming for him. There's Citadel of Adun. There's Zealot Laxus on the way. Robotic support base also on the way. So 2 Reavers will be coming out of those robotic facilities. Once that support base finishes, he's making Zealots from 2 gateways, which is pretty much the exact amount that he needs for this stage of the game. More Marines are coming out. Marines hammering away at the pylon there in the front. Unable to get access to those Zealots there in the back because his cannons are protecting them. Shuttle has finished. 2 Reavers are on the way. More Zealots streaming out from those gateways. What's this? That is a cannon. Another cannon. Oh, there's a pylon. Alright. Scan. Still pretty small. Now decided to start adding on 2 factories. Still making Marines from those 2 gateways. He went for the attack there. Took down a cannon. Took down 2 cannons that were being warped in as well. But lost too many Marines to keep going on with the aggression. So he decides to pull back to his own base. He's now started a choke as well. He's got a couple of turrets there in the front. He's got no vision over the hills. I assume he's not used to those hills just yet. Although he doesn't need vision just yet. But I assume he's not used to them just yet. More turrets being thrown in on the sides. This side is still completely uncovered by those turrets. As the first shuttle and Reaver are moving out. Shuttle Lax has finished. Zealots are moving out along with the shuttle as well. He's going to hammer away at those choke with the Reaver. And then walk his Zealots in after he clears up that choke. There's a bunch of Marines there behind the bunkers. He lands the Reavers. Reavers are going to keep go hammering away at those bunkers. Marines coming in. Marines being split up. Marines hammering away at those Reavers. But the Reavers are doing a great job at fighting those. The single Reaver actually does go down. Scan pulls back his Marines to the bunkers. 1 bunker has gone down. The 2nd bunker might go down as well. But the Marines are coming in. The Marines snipe the shuttle, snipe the Reaver as well. So this attack has effectively been fought off by really, really sweet control from Scan there. Taking down the Reaver, taking down the shuttle, and then taking down the other Reaver. Preventing Voss from pushing in. Scan did take some material loss there. Some bio loss as well. But great management. Keeping damage to the least amount possible by using the least amount of units possible in his attempt to hold that. This is a shuttle. There's a Reaver in there. 2 Zealots as well. Shuttle comes flying in. Shuttle gets sniped out. Single Zealot came out. Zealot goes down. Now turrets are being made on the side there. Scan extends his life. Really quick reaction times from this guy. I'm absolutely loving this. Really, really quick reaction times. Great mechanics. Micro and macro as well. This goes to show that even a low map player who has very little fast map experience can pull off some pretty amazing things on a fastest map. Aside from the build order, of course, because his build has been kind of a mess. He doesn't know of the starport method that a lot of people use to fight against raids. He doesn't know to get vision of those hills. He's using an engineering bay there, hovered it over the hill, so now you can see over the hill. But the drop is gonna come in from the west side, the east side, in fact. Another one is being prepared on the west side. Is flying in. It's gonna fly this one in first. Maybe he's gonna fly them in both at the same time. This one is gonna go in. There's a single Zealot and a Templar in there. Drop flies in. The shuttle does not die. SCVs get pulled off the minerals, but he kind of misclicks. Alright, he snipes the Templar before it can storm. Perhaps the Templar did not have energy. Perhaps Voss just made a mistake. Most of the SCVs now get pulled back into the minerals, but there's still a drop there on the west side of the base. But I don't think that one's going to make it in because another turret is being constructed there. There's vision over hill with an engineering bay. Another drop is being prepared in the base of Voss. Voss has added on more Stargates, and he's already preparing for carriers here on the side of his base. So there's a fleet beacon is being warped in. He's already upgrading air armor. All ground upgrades are on the way as well, barring the shield upgrade. He's gonna see those shuttles with those SCVs, so he knows the drop is gonna come in from the west side. He's already repositioning his Marines, putting them in place. He drops a single Zealot on the ground to kill an SCV to prevent it from making a turret. Now he's gonna relocate the shuttle, looking for a different spot to fly in over. Scan, a little bit overshooting, running his Marines back and forth, now splitting them up. And just as he splits them up, Voss flies in over the exact location that he split them up. But he's dropping Zealots there on the low ground so he can fly this real drop in there on the top side. Drop comes flying in. the Templar does get out. Scan kind of fails to pull off his workers. A storm comes out pretty late, but ends up killing only 5 Templars because Scan did dodge the drop with most of his SCVs. Now he pulls his SCVs back to his minerals. So Scan still holding on really, really well. Carriers are already being warped in for Voss. Carrier capacity has not yet been started. Drop is going to come in from the east side. Voss has been unable to get in there and deal any damage of significance. Scan has been holding up really well with purely mechanical play. And actually pretty smart play actually. Like even these depots that he put there on the side are working out pretty well for him. Voss flies in. Scan responds a little bit slow. Templar gets in there. Templar gets a beautiful storm off. He kills about 30 SCVs. He kills about another 10. About 40 SCVs in total went down for Scan. Well, about 30. 40 is a little bit too much. About 30 SCVs went down for Scan. Scan responded a little bit slowly. It's also a pretty nice move to put that command center on top of the SCVs to prevent Voss vision. Voss, now knowing that there's a hole here on the east side, flies in once again. A lot of Marines have gone down, so now he can no longer use his Marines to defend himself. He pulls his SCVs off, but he lose another 15 SCVs in the process because he's a little bit slow with dodging the drop. Now he has to rely on those tanks to defend himself because he no longer has barracks on the low ground there. Another drop is going to come flying in over the exact same weak spot. Scan is really bleeding out here. He's only on 150 minerals with his 34 SCVs. This drop is just hanging there for a little while longer. Carriers are finishing up. Second wave of carriers is about to be warped in. In the process of being warped in. Bunch of Zealots and Templars there ready to go. 201 upgrades for ground. And 1 armor for air. 0 shields. Shields is on the way. Weapon and armor for air are also on the way. Voss is just going to wait just a little bit longer. Right now he's going to fly his shuttle in. But the hole has been plugged up with a single turret. He's dropping units on the low ground there. Just going to clean out those tanks and those turrets there on the side. Scan decides to pull off his SCVs from the minerals, but it is in vain because there's no Templar in there. But another drop is flying in. So once again, a hole has been created. Although, albeit a small hole, a couple of Marines are positioned there, ready to intercept units being dropped on the low ground. Scan's mass is pretty small. He's got Valkyries on the way, ready to intercept those shuttles. Shuttles now being loaded up with Zealots. A 4th shuttle is going to come in, but he's going to send in just units first. He's going to unload those shuttles and Templars on the low ground, storm on the Marines, storm on the tanks, clear out those tanks, and this probably clear out a couple of turrets as well. Yes, going for the turrets. He's going to open up a path for the shuttle so it can fly in. Shuttles go down. Shuttle does take a little bit of damage. Turrets have gone down. Now the drop flies in all the way to the minerals. He gets a storm off on the SCVs. He kills another 25 SCVs. Have gone down once again. Scan really hurting. 27 SCVs. Zealots still hammering away at the turrets there on the side. Carriers are finishing up. Second wave of carriers has finished. Still all of 6 carriers he's got finished now. 2 more are on the way. So you'll have 8 carriers ready to start hammering away at Scan's defenses. Another drop already preparing itself to go in there. Preparing itself. Units are going to come in from the front as well. It's going to try to break the choke here. Tanks are being sieged up at the choke. Drop is going to come flying in from the west side. Corsair making sure the shuttle flies in all the way. Shuttle flies in all the way. Templars get dropped on the low ground. He gets a storm up. He gets a second storm up. He kills another 30 or so SCVs. I forgot to take a drink. And the front at the same time is also being penetrated by these Zealots. Marines getting stimmed to the other bunkers really quickly, but the siege tanks are killing his own bunkers. Now another stream of Zealots coming in. I don't think he even needs those carriers at this point in the game. Carriers are still in the base. I think Voss can finish this with just sending in more Zealots time and time again. Because Scan only has 17 SCVs. About 6 tanks left in his base. A couple of Marines that are stimming up and killing Zealots there. But they have to multitask and kill Zealots on 2 locations at the same time. Now turrets on the side are being targeted down by Voss. Voss doing a great job of using his units to deal the maximum amount of damage to Scan. Scan is holding in there quite well. But he has nothing to fight against those carriers. There's another drop coming in from the west side. 3 shuttles. 3 shuttles. One is loaded up with Zealots. Another one with Templar and Zealots. Flies in over a weak point. Gets in all the way. Unloads his shuttles. Templar gets out. Templar storms on the Valkyries. You dropped the Templar at the start there. Unintentionally. He wanted to storm the minerals, of course. But he just did the U move. And unloaded them as he flew in. But these Zealots are doing a lot of damage, and there's just a single tank left. And Scan, running out of units there on the low ground, winds up calling the GG. Pretty exciting game between Voss and Scan. I think this game is mostly the result of Scan's inexperience with fastest map. Or, well, he wasn't the best clicker when he had to dodge drops. But Scan showed really great potential for fastest map, in my honest opinion. He did everything a little bit in an unorthodox manner, but he did do all the things that he needed to do. So yeah, I'm curious to see the replays that will follow this one. I've got a total of 6 replays between these two players. They played a variety of matchups, and this first game just so goes to Voss. Quite impressed by both players. Voss had a little bit of some duds here and there, but mostly because Scan defended the early phases extremely well. Better than I've seen most players defend against that specific strategy. Like, I've been doing that strategy against players myself, and it pretty much always kills a lot of Marines. It pretty much always clears out the choke. It's a very tough strategy to play against, because it's just very strong. Reavers are just very strong in the early phase of the game. They kill a lot of Marines. Marines have to be microed to the extreme without mistake. Yeah, thanks for watching this game. I'm going to cast a bunch more between Scan and Voss over the coming week. That's the series I've set my eyes on. It's not a best-of series. They just played a bunch of games for fun. But it should still be fun to cast them, regardless of what the result is going to be. Goodbye, I guess. Sayonara.